Today I'm going to show you how to make mason jar salads. They stay fresh for days, and I'm going to show you how to make creamy, oil-free dressings that have an ingredient that's going to amaze you. As someone who coaches women on eating more whole food, plant-based, and getting back to the original diet God gave us in Genesis 1:29, I know that making healthy eating easier helps us stay more consistent. And these salads do exactly that. They're going to make your week a lot less stressful. So let's get started. Okay, so in order to make sure that the mason jar salad stays fresh for days, you need to layer this properly. So we're going to start with the salad dressing layer. Now, in this mason jar, I have just added a little bit of soy sauce and a little bit of fresh garlic. You can add tamari, you can add whatever kind of, this one is an Asian salad, so whatever kind of Asian dressing you prefer. Now, to this, I'm adding a little bit of aquafaba. Now, I'm actually using lentil aquafaba just because it has a little bit of a more umami taste. So we're going to add a couple tablespoons of that to our dressing. Now you can add peanut butter or almond butter, whatever kind of seed or nut butter you prefer. But because I want to make this a little bit lower in calories and more oil-free, I'm using peanut butter powder. Yes, it is a little bit processed or quite a bit processed. The fat has been removed, but I'm going to use it because I'm trying to eliminate some of the fat. So I'm going to mix that dressing together. And give it a taste, see what you think. Make sure that it tastes good. Tastes delicious. Now we're going to layer it. So you need to think about, what do I want to touch the dressing? So whatever touches the dressing is going to absorb the flavors of that dressing. So I want my tofu or my tempeh or beans maybe to hit that layer. Now I'm using tofu today. I don't know that it's tofu, but pumfu. So it's pumpkin seed tofu, I guess you could call it. And so I'm going to put that down in that next layer so that it absorbs all of that really good flavor. And you can make these as big or small of chunks as you want. Okay, and so we're just going to kind of gently make sure that those are coated. Now we're going to start adding more layers to this. I want to think about, what else do I want to be flavored? Well, harder vegetables like red bell peppers or any kind of bell pepper, they don't absorb the seasonings as much as, say, cucumbers or something to that effect. So I might want these to go in next if I don't want it to be flavored. If I do want it to be flavored, then I'm going to start adding the cucumbers. So I don't want this to be flavored as much because I want that tofu to really stand out. So I'm going to start adding my harder vegetables like my bell peppers. And remember, this is an Asian, oh, I forgot a pumfu there. Asian type salad, but the strategy of layering goes for whatever kind of salad you want. Next, I'm going to add in my shredded carrots. And it's a fun thing, and you make a big mess, so you know, it is what it is. And then I'm going to add in a little bit of broccoli. Oops. And next, I'm going to add in a little bit of a grain mixture that I have. So you could add in rice here. Now keep in mind that if you add in rice or potatoes, something to that effect, this salad will not last as long because those things tend to grow bacteria quicker. So if you're going to layer rice or potatoes, you want to make sure you eat this within 2 to 3 days at the max. But I'm going to have this for lunch today, so I'm good to go with a little bit of my grains and rice. Okay, so we have that layer. Now I'm going to layer some cucumbers, bok choy, and leeks that I have pickled. So all I did just vinegar. I didn't even do sugar because I know that the dressing I use has some sugar in it. So I wanted to counteract that. These have been sitting for about 24 hours in a little apple cider white vinegar mix. And there's some onions as well. So I've got bok choy, cucumber, onion, and leeks chopped up in this. And I'm going to add that pickle layer. So this thing is flavor packed. And you do want to leave a little bit of space at the top because you're going to turn this over when you're ready to serve it so that the dressing coats everything. So I think I'm good with this. This is my salad. I'm going to show you how you're going to store it in the refrigerator. It's gorgeous. The dressing stays at the bottom so that everything doesn't get wet and soggy. The veg are going to stay crisp. These vinegar veg will actually stay nice and crisp as well, even though they're already pickled. Now, this one is special because I did pickle those. But when you are ready to serve it, all you're going to do is turn it over so that that dressing goes down and starts to coat everything. And you might just give it a little bit of a shake, but just allow it to coat for 10 minutes. Let it sit out of the refrigerator and get ready for lunch. Now, let me show you how I'm going to top this. Now, sometimes you have to stick a fork in there to get everything to come out. And we might have to do that. You get a little bottleneck in there, depending on what veg you use. There we go. Okay, so gorgeous lunch. What I like to do then is think about how do I want to top this? And I want to top it with avocado. Now, you do not want to put avocado in your mason jar salads. It's just too delicate. It won't be good. After a few days, it's going to brown and be disgusting and mushy. So save that for when you want to serve it. And there we go. Now, the next thing I want to do is I have got some delicious crispy garlic that I'm going to just sprinkle on top. You could sprinkle sesame seeds, hemp seeds, anything you like on your salad. I'm doing a little flavorful crispy garlic, and I'm going to cut some sesame, or not sesame, I'm going to cut some seaweed over the top just to give it that really authentic sushi kind of flavor. That's what I enjoy. You can top this any way you want. You could do a sweet chili sauce. You could do a sriracha. You could do hot chili sauce. The ideas are endless. So that is one salad and one salad dressing. On to the next. All right, so we are going to make a Greek salad next, and we're going to start with the dressing. You always want to start with the dressing at the bottom of the mason jar. This dressing is going to blow your mind because we are using a potato as our base to make it creamy. Now you could use beans if you preferred, but either way, you're getting lots of really great fiber, which is going to keep you full longer. It's going to make this salad keep you satiated. Now, the great part about potatoes are if you cook them in advance and then refrigerate them and then use them, it lowers the insulin load. So your blood sugar will not shoot as high as quickly if you have cooked and cooled and then either reheated or used it in something like this. Now, here is the caveat to this salad dressing. Again, potatoes can become a little bacteria breeding ground quicker than other foods. So you want to make sure that you eat this salad within a couple of days. Now, we're just chopping this potato up just a little bit. I've already cooked it and cooled it. This one's a Yukon Gold. I like it because it seems to be the creamiest, but you could use whatever potato you want. You could even use a sweet potato if you wanted a sweet type of dressing. To that, I'm adding a clove of garlic. Now, I have already smashed this garlic and I've allowed it to set for a while to release the fantastic benefits of it. We are going to put it in there. Now, if you don't like fresh garlic because it will be intense, you can always use garlic powder. Okay, so we are adding that. And to that, I'm just adding the seasonings that I like. So I'm going to add some oregano. And I'm adding some onion powder. And some white pepper. I just really like the spice of white pepper. And a pinch of sea salt. And then to that, we are going to add water. You could also add aquafaba again. You could add some soy milk or your favorite plant-based milk. And you're going to have to decide how thick or thin you want this salad dressing. So I'm going to blend it, and if it's too thick for you, then you can absolutely add more water or your liquid. Now, hopefully you can see this is super thick. If you want it thinned out, then go for a thinner consistency, add that liquid. This is fantastic for mixing with chickpeas or jackfruit to make your own tuna-less salad or eggless or chickenless salad. It's fantastic. Okay, so I thinned mine out just a little bit more since this is going to go over the salad. Very flavorful, thick, creamy. I mean, look at that. Ugh, it's gorgeous. It's delicious. Okay, so remember, as I said before, if you want the vegetables to be flavored like your dressing. So for instance, if I were to put vinegar base in here as well, then those vegetables would become pickled. But whatever you put in this dressing is going to taste like this dressing. So I'm going to start with the tofu, that pumpkin tofu, pumpkin seed tofu. You could add tempeh, you could add your beans, you could add hard vegetables here, and I'm going to show you what I mean in a moment, so that they don't absorb the flavor of this dressing. But I want this tofu to be flavored, tofu, whatever, to be flavored. So I'm going to put it down in that dressing. Because as you know, probably, that tofus, whatever kind you get, don't have a lot of flavor. So this is going to really infuse it with flavor. Now, if I didn't want the vegetable to have a lot of flavor, I'm going to choose to put some cherry tomatoes down in that dressing so that the dressing doesn't really permeate the skin very well. So this would not be flavored. But I'm going to go ahead and put the cherry tomatoes next to put a little barrier for the rest of the vegetables. And then next, I'm going to layer some carrots, because remember, this is a simple garden salad. And I'm going to put my bell pepper. You can put whatever vegetables you prefer. So we're just layering. You could even add peas. That would be fantastic. I'm going to add some cauliflower and broccoli. And you don't have to make yours as pretty as mine. I'm just trying to make it look good for you. So I'm going to add some Kalamata olives. You could wait and do this at the end. Oh, before I do that, I'm going to add some cucumber. I almost forgot. I wanted to put some cucumber in this since it is a nice garden salad. So remember, if I were to put this next to the dressing, it would become flavored like the dressing because this is a soft vegetable. But I'm putting it up high, so it should stay nice and crispy and taste like a cucumber. Now I'm going to add some Kalamata olives, just for some delicious flavor and some good fats. And then next, I'm going to add some onion. You could do green onions. You could do leeks, like I did in the last salad. And then lastly, you want to add the lettuce or whatever type of green you're going to use. Now I'm adding some fresh salad greens that I get from my local farmer. They are fantastic. So if you wanted a lot more greens, then I've got way too many vegetables in this. But if you just want a few greens, but the nice thing about the greens, you can really pack those in. But here's the problem: when you do pack them in, you're going to probably have to take a fork to get them out. So just remember, on the last one I showed you, it kind of bottlenecked a little bit. This one will definitely bottleneck. You could use spinach, arugula, any green you like. And then you could also, if you wanted, add some fresh herbs to right here. So I love cilantro. I'm just going to add a couple of pieces of cilantro to the top of this. And we're going to call that good. Now remember, you don't want to add anything like avocados or anything that's going to get soggy or soft. So no crispy wonton noodles, no croutons, nothing like that until you get ready to serve it. And then right there, you've got it. You've got this beautiful garden salad that's going to last 2 to 3 days because I used a potato for the dressing. If I would have used something else, then these would last 4 to 5 days. Let's go to the next one. Okay, so we are making our third salad, and it is going to be a Mexican type salad. Now, in order to keep the dressing oil-free, you could use a Yukon Gold potato or whatever potato you like, just like I showed you. Or this time, we're going to use aquafaba. You could use them from the beans that you're going to put in to the salad, or I have saved some aquafaba from some garbanzo beans that I have had recently. So I'm just going to use that. And you can see that it is just simply the juice off of those beans. So we're going to add a couple tablespoons of that aquafaba to make it creamy. And I would, if you are going to use aquafaba from the can, I highly recommend, if you can, get organic beans. All right, now to this, we are going to add 2 tablespoons of the beans that we are going to put in the salad just to make it extra creamy. And then we're going to add our favorite seasonings. I make my own blend. You can find this recipe at intentionallyeat.com. It's a copycat of McCormick's, it's a copycat of Old El Paso. And since it's my fresh blend, it doesn't have any of those caking ingredients or anything you don't want to put in your body. So that's it. We're going to blend that up, and then you're going to add as much liquid as you want to thin or thicken this as much as you desire. Okay, so I have thinned this too much now, so I'm going to add in a couple more tablespoons of beans. That's all you have to do. And then blend it again so that it thickens up just a little bit. So never fear, if you end up getting it too thin, you can always thicken it again, or if you get it too thick, you can always thin it. Okay, so that's about the consistency I want. Now keep in mind, you could be using tofu, a silken tofu, if you wanted to make this a creamy dressing as well. But if you're wanting to save fat, then I highly recommend using a potato or beans. So as always, we're going to put that dressing in first. And then we're going to start to layer it. So whatever I want to taste like this dressing is what I'm going to put in first. And I want the beans to be flavored. So I'm going to put those in first. They add great protein, tons of fiber, and again, it's going to keep you satiated. So this salad isn't going to leave you feeling hungry after an hour. So to that, we're going to add our vegetables, whatever you want in your taco type salad. So I'm going to add some more pepper. You could add a poblano here. I just don't have one. It would be fantastic and super flavorful. You could add some jalapeno, serrano, however hot you want to go. That's the beauty of these salads. And what's nice about cutting and chopping is it's kind of meditative. I really enjoy it. I thank God for the food that He gave us. I pray for my family that's going to eat it, or whoever's going to get this recipe. It's just a nice, relaxing time. And if you want to de-stress, there's nothing better than chopping some vegetables. It slows you down on purpose. All right, so we're going to chop some onion. You could use green onion. I'm going to add that at the top because this onion will possibly take on a little bit of the flavor from that dressing. Now, I'm using smallmouth jar because that's what I've got right now. My wide mouth jars are full. So I prefer a wider mouth jar. It's just easier to fill and it's easier to get the salad out of. But use what you have. There's no right or wrong. Now I'm going to add radish because why not? And that is kind of a typical food to add to a Mexican salad. And these again are from my local farmer. If you aren't familiar with CSAs, community supported agriculture, you might look it up in your area and see if there are any available, because you are not going to find fresher vegetables than through your CSA. I go right to the farm and pick up what he's grown that week. It's fantastic. All right, so these radishes, because they are falling into the dressing, they're going to taste like that slightly. So next I'm going to add some grains because I want this to be a really hearty salad. You could add some Spanish rice here. I'm just going with a plain rice grain mix that I have. And again, full of fiber, so it's going to keep you satisfied a lot longer than just a plain garden salad. We want to bulk up on the fiber. We want to bulk up on the protein. Okay, so we have that. And now I'm going to go ahead and fill it with my greens because I want this one. This one's pretty hearty with all of the beans and all of the grain. So we're going to go and start to fill it. I even got some dandelion greens from my farmer this week. So they are delicious, and my cat actually loves them as well. So it's a bonus for her. She loves to eat greens. Bok choy and spinach and now dandelion greens are her favorite. She doesn't care for these salad greens as much, so bonus for me, I get to eat them. All right, so I've packed it pretty tight, but I still have a little bit of room. It shouldn't be too hard to get everything out of. I'm going to add that green onion at the top. Whoop, one got away. No, more than one got away. All right, so we've added that to the top. And then I'm going to add cilantro because I love cilantro. Now, if you don't, then absolutely skip it. But I do, so I'm going to add quite a bit. It really is bright and refreshing. It really freshens up the salad. All right, so we have that made. I did not mention this before, you do want to make sure that you get all of the liquid or anything touching that rim cleaned off before you seal it. So we're going to seal it. And we have our Mexican salad for the week. So I hope this gave you some ideas for healthy eating this week and that it's going to make your week a little less stressful, a little more simple to grab something healthy. One of the biggest things I've learned in my own weight loss journey of losing over 100 pounds is that I have to have simple, convenient, healthy foods at hand so that I can make wise choices, especially when things get really super stressful. So I hope that you find these just as helpful as I do and you enjoy them. If you like videos like this, please hit like and subscribe. And I'm going to give you my free Genesis 129 starter guide. If that sounds like something you want, the link is in the description below and you can check out this next video.